Hello, hello, hello. How we doing? How we doing, viewers? How's everything going? I hope all is going well with you. It's always great to be with you all again. And my name is Ademola Jai. Welcome to the World Bridge podcast, where we bring it real and we have conversations surrounding people in the diaspora community, especially here in North America. Joining me today, I have my wonderful World Bridges, Adibola and Modupe. How you guys doing? What's going on, ladies? How you doing?
Fantastic. Good to have
Awesome,
you here, Demola.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Adibola, how's everything going? I see your wonderful smile.
I'm
Look at your
doing,
smile. Wow. You
yeah, I'm
looking
doing awesome.
radiant. That's great. It's always great to have my wonderful ladies, Adibola and Modupe. They keep it real. My power ladies, I call them power ladies. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ladies. So today, our viewers, we're going to be talking about a topic that I think it's the foundation for a lot of things. And today we're going to be talking about the power of mindset, for immigrants in a new economy. It's and why is this important? I want to just build a little foundation, for us to understand that mindset is very, very important in everything we do, because that's where really stems, where the execution starts from. Before you can execute anything, the mindset has to be right. Before you're able to carry things through, what is the posture? What's the posture of your mind? It's very, very important. And we see even in our economy today, we see areas whereby we have people with all this kind of negative mindset. So let's dive in. Before we dive deep into today's conversation, let's start with the foundation. What exactly is mindset? What are we talking about? Why do we need to have the right mindset as immigrants coming into a new economy? So I'm going to shoot, you know, um, I'm going to direct my first this question to Madupe. So what exactly is mindset, Madupe?
Thank you, Demola, and greetings again to all our viewers. We appreciate you, your comments, your like. Please continue to subscribe and share us out there. We want to make sure that those individuals we are reaching out to, members of our community, of the immigrant community, are actually getting value in the information we share out there. I know Demola is like waiting and wanting me to really slap on this mindset topic. And to be honest, I
Yes.
like to say that mindset is everything. So it has nothing to do with your career path. It has nothing to do with your gender. It has nothing to do with your ethnicity. But just put it out there and say that it is everything. So when you're talking about mindset and we want to break it down in form of a layman's language, I call it a way in which a person thinks, a way in which a person, an individual perceive himself or herself. How is this person interpreting life? How is this person responding to opportunities as well as challenges, right? Because how you react to opportunity and how you now take hold of challenges that come before you determines every single thing. So, mindset is that mental framework that shapes an individual's decision, our confidence level, our habits, our outcome, our results as we go, down the lane. And now, because we're narrow focusing on our primary niche, right, with all sense of, pride, the immigrant community, any single immigrant, especially, right, who found themselves anywhere in diaspora, the mindset in which you probably are coming with are usually going to be different from what you're going to meet when you get here. So
Mhm.
it's important for you to be very, very flexible while you're trying to acclimatize with the weather condition. Hey, there is also the psychological and the emotional state of mind that you need to also adjust to. You need to modify it. You don't have to say, well, this is all what has worked from wherever I'm coming from. I'm just going to keep it, you know easy PC, status quo, nothing changes. No. If you do that, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. you will not get anything. You will not. So two people can literally arrive in the same country. Somebody getting right there at JFK, another person at San Francisco, port of entry. Same career, same gender, same age, coming with the same career mindset. They can land here in the US, they can land here in North America, and then you find out that the two of these individuals, both of them, might end up turning out differently because they might end up struggling and their struggles might be different. Again, depending on their mindset. So a healthy mindset would say that, I'm here on this new pedestal, on this new location, and I will make do with every single resource, with every single, opportunity that comes along the way, with every challenge that I have to tackle. But I know that I will come out, victorious. I'll come out as an overcomer. I will come out successful. That is the mindset. But coming here and then having heard that your uncle from 1926, from 1946, has said this is how it is, and this is it, and you're not trying to find out what is working now. Things have evolved, right? You will miss the boat. And I think that's why this topic is really, really germane in our heart. And we wanted to really talk a little bit about it. We need our immigrant community to start changing and have a more open mind, right? To rewire things. It is 2026. I've seen so many people gone to Asian countries and then they say, ha, have you been to China? China is already in 2050. And then somebody wants to still be acting like it's 2026. I mean, sorry, 1926. I think we need to change the narration. So that is mindset, Demola. The entire perspective of a human being, how you perceive what comes before you. Are you looking at it from an optimistic lens view, or you just choose to go with the pessimistic lens view?
Awesome. Wow. I definitely love that deep dive. You've definitely taken a huge bite at that. I love the foundation that you set for us. And it's very, very important as we lay that foundation to bring some good clarity to our viewers. It's also very important to understand now that we know the foundation, we've set the foundation of what mindset is. It's also important to understand that, why must we as immigrants develop a new mindset, to not bring, the Bible says you can't put new wine in old, in old wine skin, very, very important. So you can't bring the same mindset that you're bringing from your home country and think that mindset is going to work here. It's not. So I'm going to, direct this next question to Adibola. Why do you think it's very important for immigrants to develop a new mindset and probably do away with the old mindset, or maybe look for hybrid if that works?
All right, let's get into that. I mean, you said something, Ademola. You said it's not it's not ideal to put a new wine in an old wine skin. That means you have to get a new wineskin for that new wine. And that's just the way it is with many immigrants. Moving to a new country, it's not just a physical relocation. It is mentally, it is mental. Also it's an emotional move. Also, we talk about the financial and the cultural transition that comes with all that. So the mindset that helps someone survive or succeed in their home country, may not fully work in, completely in the new place that you are, because this is a different system. And developing a new mindset is very important. And because it's actually going to help you to adapt, to grow, and also to take advantage of any opportunities that may exist, or that you may not have before. So I'm just going to point out some few keys, some things that you just have to note, reasons why that mindset shifts matter. So number one, to move from a survival mode to a growth mode. Based on our own background, it's survival. But now you have to move to a growth mode. So you have to, many immigrants arrive focused on that immediate survival, paying bills, sending money home, working multiple jobs, and getting their legal status and helping family and all that. So that has to change. So I mean, survival is necessary. Staying in a survival mode too long might cost you a lot. So a new mindset help you begin thinking about things like building wealth, investing, entrepreneurship, even retirement, and like building your own legacy. So that is one thing. Then success is different. Every country has its own system. So the rule of success in your country may be different from the new country. So you talk about, we have the credit system, the taxes, the workplace, cultural things, and even education parts. So what worked back home may not translate directly to where you are. So you have to like, okay, how is it done here? What do I need to change? A new mindset help you to become a learner again, instead of just relying on what or just assumptions. And also it helps you to build confidence, that confidence to rebuild. That's another thing that new mindset will help you to do. Many immigrants were expected professionals in their home country. Maybe they were teachers, engineers, doctors, and all that. But after coming to a new country, they may feel invisible or even forced, to stop doing that and doing something that they feel, oh, this is way beyond, below me, compared to what they were doing before. So you have to, changing your mindset help you to gain that confidence, do well in whatever you're doing. Also, it also helps to break limits, or limiting beliefs, I would say, where we carry beliefs that are shaped by like scarcity, fear, and instability. And playing safe is best. Business, oh, it's too risky. Oh, I'm not sure. It might be scam. People like us don't become wealthy. Things like that. As long as I have a state job, that's civil service job, I'm okay. Some of those things have to change because that's the way that's our orientation. So now you may have to be talking of becoming a business owner, investing, new technologies and all that, and a lot more. So there are lots of reasons why you need to really change your mind so that you can fit into the new system.
Wow. Very, very, very true. Just using myself as a very good example, coming here in, when I first came here, I really didn't even know so much about the system, and I could see how that affected me in the very few beginning of the years that I was here, because I didn't really understand how the system works. And every single time you don't understand how the system of wherever place you're occupying, that system always works against you instead of working for you. And that's one of the things why it's very important to be very prepared. So just don't. So what we're telling our viewers is, if you're going to relocate, if you're going to move from one place to the other, do some fact finding about where you want to go to. Ask a lot of questions, know what's in, and you start to you start to rethink the way you think. You start to reshape that thinking, that thought process, because a lot of times some people just think they could just come here and they'll just get that job and everything starts just working out and everything is rosy. But most times it doesn't work that way. And you have to be prepared even for the unknown, because that's what happens. And there's nothing that teaches anyone, nothing prepares each and every one of us until you experience it yourself. People can tell you all kind of different things, but you not experiencing it yourself, it's a different ball game. So Mudukwe, understanding why it's so important for us to, develop a new mindset. How do you think, understanding this economy helps the immigrant that is coming in, somebody who's coming in? How do you think understanding the economy would help that person, so that at least maybe they're able to, move faster, succeed faster, or, get around faster?
Excellent. And while I'm answering that question, I'm probably going to be saying, why is it why is it going to be detrimental if they don't understand it? You see,
Mm.
you said very clearly that many of us have experienced it. You know how they say experience is the best teacher. You have your first experience and you're like, ha, now, I mean, like, I was once blind, now I see,
See.
that kind of a thing. So for immigrants, understanding the economic system of the country wherever they find themselves, right, it's not an optional conversation. So
Mm.
viewers, if you're listening and you think, oh well, maybe that's just for some set of people, maybe that's just for some set of people that are trying to go into a particular career path. No, it is not optional. You know how they tell you it is mandatory? Okay, so it is mandatory. Why? Because if you don't, Demola said it, every single time you choose to refuse, to understand the economic system in wherever it is you find yourself, then that system is working against you 100% of the time. So it can be the difference between you working very hard or you're still struggling. You're still trying to make it through. Because when you don't understand it, then you're trying to like make your own plan and you're doing it and you're doing it. Something that probably would take you 1 year, 2 years. You end up finding that it's taking you 10 years because you chose to refuse to understand the economic system.
Mm.
And this is one of the reasons why it matters. Because I was saying you don't understanding it would be very detrimental to how far you go. Every country has its own money language. Just like countries have their primary official language, right?
Mhm.
But some countries that were colonized, right? So whatever country that colonized them, right, imposes upon them that particular language, you see? And the same thing happens. There is every country with its money language. You know how we say money is a game? I even want to say that see money as a language. If
Mm.
you don't understand that language, how are you going to communicate?
Yeah.
So you need to understand things like Debola talked about it. How does the credit system work? How does the tax system works? How does the retirement system work? Do we have something in place that help you, you know, give over your loss, or how does the insurance system work, how does debt work, the banking system, the ownership system, the estate planning system, how is wealth transferred in America? If you don't learn the language of the system, you may be present in that country physically but financially disconnected
Mm.
from all of the opportunities around you that keep staring at you. So when they talk about it, you just say, yeah, it's scam. And that's why we're having this conversation, people. Now, when you begin to work so hard without financial understanding, that will become a trap automatically.
Mm.
And many of our immigrant communities are hardworking. So it's not a question of, oh, these people are lazy. No, laziness is not even in our dictionary, you see, because that is the only reason why they fall into a different pedestal, right, location, and we perfectly fit into working long hours, double, triple shift. They support family back home, they pay bills, they sacrifice their comfort. But without understanding the economic system, let me tell you, those things are going to be detrimental. You end up overpaying in taxes. You will misuse your credit. You will delay your retirement planning, which is what we're seeing in this age and time. You begin to carry some debt that you have no business carrying. You will even miss some employers of benefit opportunities.
Mm.
Ignoring protection planning, avoiding investing because you're just so fearful. Coming again down to mindset. You begin to build assets even without proper legacy structure. And that is why financial literacy is just not that information, it is protection. Why again will this? I'll just mention two and I'll throw it back at you, Demola, because this whole conversation it builds up on one or the other.
Yeah.
Now, the system rewards those who understand the structure. So if we're still on this game, my immigrant community, our precious, wonderful immigrant community, if we're still on this space and we're saying, oh, you know what? Nah, I don't want to understand financial literacy, you will not be rewarded. The diaspora system we find here has structure, and it would only reward people who follow the structure. In many countries, especially in the US, the system is built around structure. So those will understand how to build credit intentionally, use tax advantaged account, protect their income, right? Start business properly, invest consistently, plan their retirement early using legacy structures. This individual, they will always scale through. And that's the same reason why I said earlier that two people can earn the same income, but end up in very different financial positions.
Yeah.
One is only earning, and earning is not the destination, people.
Hmm.
My precious immigrant community. The other side of earning requires your planning, your protection, your multiplying, your transferring. And when I promise to take one more, immigrants will often carry two financial responsibilities, no matter what we say. The black taxes are just wiggling at our faces, right? So many immigrants are not only building in the country they moved into, and for some reason, it's not our fault. Supporting back home, that means that they even have several, financial responsibility than a normal average American. So, which means we need more financial clarity. In fact, we should be the one trying to say, I need this structure, and not the ones running away from the structure. So, when these structures are not in place, remittances now become emotional spending instead of intentional. And we've talked about quite a few of this. So the question now becomes, am I helping from overflow or am I helping from financial pressure?
Hmm.
So all of these things, just to mention a few, are things, we educate our community on every now and then. Demola, you do that every day, twice on a weekend. Debola does that every day, twice on a weekend, just to make sure that our community are liberated.
Yeah.
So, to your question, how important is this? So crucial. It is not an optional conversation. It is not, how we pick our courses and we say it's elective. This is not an
Mhm.
elective.
It's
This
mandatory.
is mandatory. Back to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's definitely on spot on. Um, Adebola, as we navigate through this, our new environment, our new economy, our new country, how important is it for immigrants to develop a growth mindset? For them to be able to, develop a stronger and healthier mindset. What's practical steps can immigrants take to develop a stronger and a healthier mindset?
All right. So, all right, let's talk about this. Practical steps to develop a growth mindset. You know, there are several steps, and let's talk about uh, education. You have to continue to educate yourself. You have to continue to keep learning. You can't depend on what you already know. We already established the fact that the system is different, it's totally different from what you were used to. So, in order to be able to get yourself fit or to adapt into the new system, you need to learn new things, definitely. The ways things are done in the new place you have. So you might need to read books, attend workshops, seminar. Now everything is online. You can just get different courses online. Sometimes you go online to just say, "Oh, how to do this, how to do this. What is this about?" So you may not even have to spend money to do that, but make sure you are doing that. Uh, Financial education is also very important. At the same time, you need to build relationships. Don't stay alone. Connect with people, your church community, which is what most of us are very used to, uh, your work community. Just make sure that you are not alone. You are not isolating yourself. People that know what you need, they've experienced it. They can point you to the right direction. That is very important. And also improve your skills, your communication skill, build confidence. Confidence will grow through communication, so that you need to do that. I was just telling somebody yesterday that back home we can't talk to our bosses. And when I mean bosses, even your supervisor, the next person up there to you,
Mhm.
not you
Superiors.
know,
Mhm.
not to talk about the manager. You can't even talk to your supervisor like, oh, why did you do that? But different here, you can tell people, call people out and all that. So you may have to build that communication, bridge that communication gap, and don't just stay in that little spot and say, "Oh, this is I don't want any trouble." No, you may have to speak out as needed. All right, avoid negative environments, and also think long term. Long term, focus on building a legacy. That's very important because that's what you're gonna pass down to the next generation. All right. So don't just focus on the immediate, which is what we are very used to. That's survivor. Oh, let me take care of the rest. What's needed now? But we need
Right.
to build a legacy. A legacy. We need to build something that we can hand over, transfer to the next generation,
Mm.
and that is very important. So a growth mindset understands that every challenge can actually become a lesson, and every step back can become a preparation. So don't do it alone. Talk to people and learn, learn, learn. We can never learn enough.
Wow. Thank you so much. I hope viewers, I hope you guys are taking some notes. And if you're finding these so valuable, we want you to put something in the comment section. We'll definitely love to address, some of the concerns you might have, or some of the things, best practices, or some of the things that you have learned. And as we wrap up, just a final message to all our viewers, all our immigrants, right there, as we close this conversation, Modupe, what final message would you like to leave with our immigrants pursuing success in a new country they find themselves in, or in a new country they chose to come to, because they didn't just find themselves there, you chose
Mhm.
to move. So what
Yeah.
advice, or what would you want to leave, for them, people pursuing success in a new country?
One of the things that comes with the season that we find ourselves right now is that certain things were not prevalent when many of us probably relocated. And those things are like, how they say back where we come from, there is like pure water right now. You have information everywhere. In fact, if you're not careful, you find information overload.
Hmm.
But this is the part where it's important for individuals to have their mind open. However, they should also seek what I call a discernment mindset. They're able to discern, is this right or is this wrong, while they're doing their due diligence. So the final word I'm going to leave with people, so I don't again, regurgitate what it is we've said earlier on. I'll say that individuals should keep and be very, very, particular and guard the environment they find themselves, because their environment will determine how far they're going to go. The people they surround themselves with, right? What they listen to, what they are constantly being exposed to. As a matter of fact, you might probably say, Dupe, what are you saying? I'm here. I don't even know no one. I'm so new in this community. There are great virtual networks that you can get yourself, hooked up with. Great community that you can get yourself hooked up with, even just on the virtual space, that will help you, that will groom you, that will guide you. So such individuals should be open enough, right, to receive search. And we cannot overestimate this or overemphasize this. Personal development.
Hmm.
Even for those who probably have been here for donkey years, we still need that constant personal development. Otherwise, we're going to sound so stale, right? And so we need to kind of, identify at every point in time, which area am I struggling with? Find books on that area. Find, every resource in that particular space. Research materials that you can actually chew on and build it. Now, once you build that particular skill set, identify, is there any other area that you still need to work on? Now, don't now be a reservoir that you learn and keep to yourself because you're going to again become stale. Be ready to launch out and give out. And to be honest, it is endless. It's an unending conversation that individuals needs to be open up to so that they can receive of that. That will be my lasting word or parting words to our viewers for this episode.
Wow. I want to thank you, my wonderful, wonderful ladies, my wonderful panelists here today, my co host. I hope our viewers, I know that you've gotten a lot of nuggets today. And I just want to let you understand that a new country gives new opportunities, but only a renewed mindset can maximize them. Your background may explain your journey, but your mindset will determine your destination.
How far you
On
going?
that note, we
Clock
want to
it.
say we love you, we appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until our next episode, stay blessed and stay fired up. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
God
Bye,
bless.
God
everyone.
bless. Bye, everyone.